kids call him. No, they don't. We'll take that outing any day. We got Mike Vick here to break down all the action from yesterday. Broussard, you're so easy to please. Mike, how much did Jameis's performance surprise you?
Honestly, Jenna, it didn't surprise me at all. I had a chance to talk to Jameis about 4 months ago, and we had an in-depth conversation about, just the game itself, what football really meant to him. And, Jameis just kept saying, we're going to surprise some people this year. We're going to surprise some people, and they're not going to see what's coming. And he spoke with so much confidence and enthusiasm, and Jameis is a guy who really loves the game. At the quarterback position, you got to have a passion for it, and he really does. And yesterday wasn't a surprise to me. When you gel with a offensive coordinator, when you gel with your quarterback coach, a guy like Sean Payton, and you get that information download, and it's starting to register, and you know that you with a coordinator who's going to present the game plan that's going to be for you, you can come out and you can play with the utmost confidence, and I think that's what Jameis talked about. I think that's what he illustrated, and, I just couldn't take anything away from the conversation but the fact that he was going to go have success, and it was very evident yesterday. Obviously, you got to continue to do that. It's week one, and it's just a stepping stone, a step in the right direction. But, we want to monitor this week 2, week 3, week 4, and Jameis knows how important it is to be consistent in the National Football League. So that's what I have my eye on. Is it going to be consistent?
Well, and I want to give the Saints credit. Listen, I picked the Packers to go to the Super Bowl and the Saints to miss the playoffs. And they played each other week 1, and the Saints beat them in every single phase of the game. Jameis was a part of that, so they absolutely deserve credit. And I know, listen, Broussard, I know you were like, hey, Jameis, dark horse MVP. And so you're feeling good this morning. But we also have to be honest that the 5 touchdowns are a little misleading. And when I say that, I mean there's a reason first player in NFL history with 5 touchdowns and fewer than 150 yards passing. Before his final pass of the game, he had 4 touchdowns and 95 yards passing. Okay? So the story of this game to me was the Saints defense annihilating the Packers. And Jameis had his touchdown passes, aside from the 55-yarder at the end. It was 1 yard, it was 3 yards, it was 8 yards. So I think that the more important number than the 5 touchdowns is the 0 interceptions, because obviously that's what got Jameis run out of Tampa, was the 30 interception season, and prior to that, the 15, 16 interceptions to go along with 10 to 12 fumbles. He played a clean game, and if the Saints defense can play anywhere close to that level that it played yesterday throughout the rest of the season, then you just need Jameis to play a clean game. But 5 touchdowns, 147 yards. There's a reason we've never seen that before. It's an anomalous performance. So I give him credit, and if he keeps playing at a consistent level, the Saints will be better than I thought. But on the bar, it looks better than it actually was if you watched the actual game.
Well, I agree somewhat with you, Nick. And I was surprised at how cautious they were early on with him. As you said, only 90-something yards for most of the game. But the pass to Deontay Harris was perfect, right? Couldn't have been thrown any better. And the thing is this, we knew Jameis could do that. That's what he gives them that Drew Brees hasn't for the last 5 years or so. So that was not a surprise. What was surprising, what we didn't know that Jameis could do, was be cautious, was be patient, was do the dink and dunk game, not make the mistakes, just manage the game and not go for home runs all the time. So that shows growth, learning under Drew Brees, learning from Sean Payton this year. This kid's only 27 years old, which for a quarterback that's not a runner, a guy that's in the pocket that hadn't taken all those hits that running quarterbacks have, that is young, especially in this day and age. Remember what Drew Brees was before Sean Payton got a hold of him. So I think this is a sign of things to come. Obviously, not predicting 5 touchdowns every weekend, but I like the fact that beyond the great throw to Harris, the fact that he was patient, he played within the game plan, he didn't make mistakes against what we think is a pretty good defense, And so, Mike, I really love the new stuff I saw from Jameis, which was the most underwhelming stuff.
Well, and I want to ask Mike a question. And I don't always mean to use Mike's career as a proxy for others, but this is, I think, a good comp here. And this isn't disrespectful to your coaches in Atlanta, but you had coaches in Atlanta that were one level of offensive coach, and then you got to Andy Reid. And I would imagine it's like, oh, my God, this is a totally different level of offensive coach that I haven't experienced before. Jameis had Bruce Arians, but he also had some less-than coaches in Tampa. And now he has Sean Payton, which whatever the criticisms of Sean Payton are, everyone knows the guy knows how to draw up an offense. How much do you think that by itself changes the quarterback Jameis can be like it was for you in Philly?
Oh, it's everything. And that's why I referenced earlier. When you get with a coach, you go through a game plan together, you look at the game plan, you understand it, you can make adjustments together. You know you're going to go into a game and you're going to have some confidence and you're going to make some plays. You know that it's a couple touchdowns that's potentially on that game plan, in that game plan. And when I got to Andy, it was just a totally different set of information that I learned about the West Coast system than I had when I was in Atlanta. But it was much appreciated. It was next level. It was very detailed. And that's what Sean Payton provides for Jameis Winston right now. That's what he did with Drew. And Chris referenced the fact that they were able to stretch the field now, and I think that was important. Sean Payton got a lot of deep shots, down-the-field shots within his playbook, and if they can just execute that on the high level, if Jameis can be consistent, if it's not there, dump it down. You know, that's what Andy allowed me to do. Go downfield, check it down when you need to, be cautious with the ball. He'll get them shots called way more often.
All right, well, a tall task for Jameis coming up in week 2. He's got the Panthers, animated Panthers. Watch out, Jameis. Mike, stick around. We're headed to Kansas City. The Browns came about this close to knocking off the Chiefs. Did Baker throw away his chance to beat Mahomes? Talk about that next on a Football Monday. Stay with us. All right, sit back, Wilds. We head back to Foxborough. In the battle of former Bama quarterbacks yesterday, it was Tua who came out on top over Mac Jones, but just barely. Miami gets the close 17-16 win, but Mac looked pretty good, pretty comfortable. Finished with 281 yards and the touchdown, no interceptions. Most passing yards by a Pats QB in his first career start. Here was Mac on where he goes from here.
Yeah, I think we can get better. That's just how we have to look at it. Definitely wasn't good enough, starting with me. Yeah, so we got to watch the film, and we lost, so it's not good enough.
He's so quiet, I can barely hear him. Wilds, should Pats fans be encouraged or discouraged after the Week 1 loss?
Encouraged, Jenna. Mac Jones, come here, buddy. I'm Robin Williams, and you're Matt Damon. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's the penalties' fault. We had 85 yards in penalties. It's not your fault. We had 85 yards in penalties, the most in